Hey everyone, welcome to Lotus Rising. This is Michelle.
This is Maria. Hi. This is our second episode.
Yes, today is our second episode, and today we're going to talk a little bit about resonance. What does that mean? What does it mean when something is in resonance with you? A lot of times people like to say it vibe with you, or has a good vibe, or there's a lot of different words for it. But for today, for the purposes of today, we'll use resonance and resonating. So before I start, I just want to say that my definition and true understanding of how energy and resonance works, I really got a very good understanding of it when I did my crystal certification class through Hibiscus Moon Crystal Academy. So all the information I'm about to tell you is what I learned through that class and from Hibiscus Moon, and she goes into huge, she goes into really, into a lot of depth to explain this, and anybody who's interested in learning more should check that out because she's a great resource. So when when I was learning about the crystal healings, how crystals works on frequency. So everything has a frequency or what's called a dominant oscillatory rate. So that means the rate at which the matter vibrates, and all matter has this dominant oscillatory rate. And so something can have a low frequency or a high frequency. That the frequency is how getting
It's
caught up.
okay.
It's okay. We don't have to start over. The frequency is something can have a low frequency and a high frequency. It doesn't mean something's good or something's bad. It's just the frequency is the how fast the energy comes by. Low frequency means it comes by a little bit slower. High frequency means it comes by really quick. And then you can have what's called amplitude, which is how high the waves are. So with those three things in common, with those three things said, three when you have two things together of a different vibration,
Hmm.
different frequency, they cannot stay in the same area for very long without one what's called entraining to the other. So entraining is like matching the other.
Hmm.
So when let's say something has a low frequency and something has a high frequency, they can't stay in the same room together for very long unless one of them matches. Then depending on which one has more amplitude, that's the one that's going to be matched. So let's say the low frequency has more amplitude. The high frequency is then going to have to come down to the low frequency level to match it, to stay there. And this is how crystal healing works, and this is how resonance works. So when something is not in resonance with you, it means it's just not an energy match. It's not matching your energy, from my understanding. And so sometimes when you're around people that you kind of feel uncomfortable around, feels just not feeling comfortable, just not feeling like light and free. It's because the energies aren't matching, and they're kind of working to get together on the same level there. And so it might feel a little uncomfortable until that happens. And you may have noticed that, at first when you're around somebody new, let's say, you don't really want to be around them, or not that you don't want to be around, it just feels weird. It's because your energy is different. They haven't entrained with each other. So that is my understanding um, of resonance, and we'll get more into that, but that's just a basic overview of that, very basic. So I'll pass it over to you, Maria, and you tell me what you think.
Yes. Hi, everyone. So that's we could say that an interesting perspective. I've never looked at resonance that way. It explains the scientific notion or technical notion, I suppose, with the energy levels, and it makes sense. obviously. But for me, when I think of resonance and what resonates with me, I'm always leaning towards the feelings, right? If it's harmonious, that's the word that comes to my mind with it's harmonious, which makes sense. If an energy level, like you said, isn't matched, then there can't be harmony. Harmony with music is, it has to be tuned. So for me, I feel if it's in resonance or not. That's how I approach resonance or what resonates with me personally. Now I know the technical aspect why. Obviously it goes, I go through that, but how can I say this? So I create, or at least I think in order to know what resonates or doesn't resonate with you, what's in resonance, you should be aware of it. So that's not always easy. Now that we know the technical aspect, I think there's also the feeling aspect, I guess, right? Michelle, what do you think?
Yeah,
Yes.
I it can be hard to recognize what exactly it is that you're feeling, especially and not and trying to judge it because just because something isn't in resonance with you doesn't mean it's something bad
Mm-hmm.
or it's good and you're bad, vice versa. It just means it's vibrating at a different rate. And when you start to look at it that way and you understand there really is no good and bad, it's just different.
Yeah.
It kind of helps you accept things more, at least for me.
Yeah.
And so when I'm starting to feel that kind of uncomfortable feeling around somebody or something, because it can happen with crystals too, and we can talk about that too. Um, let's just use a person for example. If I'm around somebody, let's say I'm around like my best friend who I love being around. One day in particular, I can't be around this person for some reason. I can understand, whoa, something is shifted with this person's energy for some reason. There's a different frequency here that's not resonating with me, and it's just going to take a little work for us to be on the same page energetically. And it's
Yeah.
not a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It just is, just what it
Yeah.
is.
Hmm.
Maria.
Yeah, no, so for me, definitely, I recognize when something feels good, I say, okay, that means it's resonating. And like Michelle said, it's not bad or good, but it has to feel to me, if it feels right and it feels good, that's how I'm aware that, okay, this is matching me, whether it's a person or a decision or a life event, and definitely absence. I try to recognize if there's judgment with that reaction. So as for resonance, when it's in tune and in harmony with me, then I'm like, okay, it's resonating. That's how I know. If it's not, the next topic we wanted to bring about is what do you do if it's not? Like if you feel you're in a situation and you're just not comfortable, or you have to make a decision and you just don't know why this decision isn't feeling good. How do you manage it? Uh, and for me, I go and ask myself questions or I talk to friends and I really try to get to the bottom of it. Is it because it doesn't resonate with me? Is the decision that I'm making not in tune with what I feel is right? Or am I scared? Then that's a different factor. If you're scared of making a decision, then it's not necessarily that it doesn't resonate with you, but that there's a different component to it. And by asking questions and talking to friends or family, you hopefully will arrive at a conclusion which you will become aware of when you feel that good feeling of harmony. Because after asking so much, at some point you're going to get an answer that's just going to feel uplifting and it's going to feel, okay, yeah, this is what I want. Obviously, if it's fear is a very big part of making, I guess, choices that might not resonate with you. Um, if it's fear and you can't recognize it, then you might keep making similar decisions that don't resonate with you. But it's up to us. We can recognize it. Definitely, if it's not feeling right, there's something to be explored. That's my thought process. Michelle, you?
Yeah, I basically agree with that, and I'll use I'll use crystal healing as an example for this because it makes it make sense. And, if you use it for me, hopefully it'll make sense for somebody else also. But okay, let's say you pick up a new crystal and you really like it and you want to work with it and you start working with it and it's starting to make you feel really weird and it's starting to make you feel really uncomfortable and you kind of feel like you don't want to work with it. A lot of times, so, in the beginning when I first started working with crystals, I would say, oh, I can't work with that crystal. That crystal makes me feel weird. There's, I can't use that. So just because something is not in resonance, but obviously that crystal was not in resonance with me. So, but just because something is not in resonance with you doesn't mean that it's something you should not explore. Because what I've learned is that if you if that crystal's bubbling up something inside you that makes you feel uncomfortable, it's there to teach you a lesson. It's there to you can learn something from it. So in a sense, it is in resonance with you, but not in a way that feels comfortable, not in a
Mm-hmm.
way that feels harmonious. It's resonating with you on a uncomfortable level. Um, if that does that make sense, Maria?
Yes, yes, no, that makes sense. And that can actually bring us to another point about resonance. So Michelle and I wanted to discuss a little bit of defining it, what it means in this technically, what it means to us, also what when something doesn't resonate, how can you recognize it? And now another point is, okay, so if something doesn't resonate, like a third point, to explore it, not to shut it out. Just like Michelle said, it's not bad or good. It's simply something that isn't in sync with you. But the why is up to you to uncover. And crystals, which are healing crystals, I don't know as much as Michelle. Anything I learn is from her. But, they're supposed to be healing, or they have a purpose, which means they can help you. So if it doesn't resonate with you, but it's supposed to help you, if you refuse it, then how do you, I guess, improve or work with your own vibration? So it's not good or bad. It's always a matter of working with. And so the important the important part, I would say, is at the end of your exploration with what doesn't resonate is to find how to work with it so that you are in harmony. Doesn't mean you accept it, but it means you understand it, you've explored it, and you can move forward. I hope that was clear, Michelle.
Yeah. So when another point I like to make, so you can use the example as with the crystals I gave you, and you can apply that to people also. So if you're around somebody who makes you feel uncomfortable and is not resonating with you, you have a good way to approach that, I think, is to ask why. That, not judge it, like we said, but just ask why. Like, what is this person here to teach me? It's not resonating in a comfortable way with me. It's bringing up something uncomfortable inside of me. What does that mean for me? And in yoga, when we do when you do asana practice, a lot of times a lot of times the poses that you least want to do, the poses that are the ones you avoid, are the poses that you need the most.
Mm,
So sometimes those things that aren't in resonance with you can be a very good thing to learn from. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes it's just something you don't really need in your space, but sometimes it's a learning
yes.
lesson. And that takes some skill in self-observation to know the difference between something that is not resonating with you because it's something you don't really need in your space, or it's something that's not resonating with you because it's something that you need to learn from. And only you can figure out that. And
Yeah.
that's hard. That's hard.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think we all struggle with that.
Good point, Michelle. Good point. So yeah, that was very good. Good point. And it is tough. It's tough. That's why it's good to have friends, our community. If you come join us, write us. We could have a show or an episode with your topic, a specific topic on something that isn't resonating. But it is challenging, and yes, some things at a certain point you might want to remove from your space, like Michelle said. But I do personally find before I even do that, I always wonder why. Why is this here? What am I meant to learn?
All right.
Obviously, it takes time to get there, maybe, and it depends. Yeah, it's hard because if it makes you feel very uncomfortable, the initial reaction is to move away from it. That's
Exactly.
automatically. So it takes support. Go ahead, Michelle.
Yeah, so basically, as you were saying that, what I was thinking of is when you're confronted with a situation where something does not resonate, the first, like you were saying, Maria, the first impulse is to move away from it. But I think a part of this work is resisting that first impulse at first and questioning it a little bit and seeing where you can take it and where it will go. Because you might be surprised.
Yeah.
It might surprise you. You might be like, oh wow, like at first I thought this was something I didn't want around me, and now I understand why it's there and what it's there to teach me. And nothing, everything that comes in your space is there to teach you a lesson, and that you need there. Some people and some things come in and out, and situations come in and out of your space. You just don't need to have a part of them. They're just
Hmm.
there. You don't really need to explore it too far, but explore it far enough to understand the difference between the two. If that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yes. No, that makes sense. So that's about, I don't know, that's about it, I would say, Michelle. We'd love to know what you guys think about resonance and how to differentiate what resonates and what doesn't resonate. How do you balance it out? Do you make room for people that, or things, or situations that don't resonate to explore it? Have you had a challenge with it? Everything we've discussed, we'd love to hear what you think about it as well.
Yeah, and real quick before we hang up, the other thing is sometimes things will resonate with you right away and you feel like this is the best thing and it's really resonating with you, and then down the road you discover, what, wait a minute, this is, something's changed, it doesn't feel the same.
That's true.
So I recently had an experience with that, and um, at first something really resonated with me very strongly, and then as I got into the situation I started to discover that it wasn't resonating in the same way, and I was like,
Yeah.
what happened, what
Hmm.
happened? um, so I had to really, like, do some, searching to figure out what happened. So even if something feels really good right away, it can go the opposite way. So something can feel really good right away and really in resonance with you, and then it can kind of change. Just as, like we were saying before, something
Yeah,
at first cannot feel in resonance with you, and as you
that's true.
explore it, you can kind of start to
Hmm.
understand what that means. It can go both ways. So
That's
I've had
true.
experience with it both ways, and in yoga we always say, lean into the uncomfortable spots, in a sense, like, not to push yourself into something uncomfortable in a yoga pose. I never recommend that. But it's something, if there's something particular you're really resisting, find out why. Like, find out why
Yeah,
you're really resisting
that's true.
that.
That's true.
Yeah, because I'd always resist inverted poses in yoga, like headstands, handstands. I'm scared of them. And for me, I realized it was a control. It was a control thing.
Hmm.
Scared of relinquishing control over my
Yeah,
over gravity, whatever it was. For me, it was a control thing. Just
yeah,
as an example.
yeah. No, that's true.
So
Yes, it's true. It's a resonance. It's a very interesting and in-depth topic if you think about it, because yes, there's so much that you can question. Like you said, if you don't, like the yoga pose, if you don't stop to ask yourself, why am I refusing it? If you don't ask it, you just keep not doing it.
right,
Yeah, it's not, I don't know, it's an interesting topic. Yes, you should push yourself a little bit. I agree. And like I think what doesn't resonate, like, yes, as we've been saying, it's not a bad thing necessarily. and it takes questioning when you're in that moment, and realizing if there's something. We all need, life is about learning. So yes, me too. It took time, but you know, slowly, when things happen that bother me, for example, which doesn't it still has somewhat to do with resonating, but maybe not so much. But if something happens and it bothers me, now at this point in my life, I always ask, okay, why is it bothering me? And at first, probably when we're much younger, or until we start questioning, we just react. We get angry, we are uncomfortable, we don't like that situation, and if it repeats itself, you get angry over and over and over again, until finally you are the one who decides, you know, why am I getting angry? Without that why to yourself, you can't really explore. And there's always a lot to explore when we have a reaction. And I think one way to achieve a higher resonance, maybe with more things, is to actually explore what doesn't resonate, what pushes against you, what pushes your buttons. Why is it pushing your buttons?
Right.
You know,
There's a
obvious.
reason.
Go ahead, Michelle.
I'm just
Yeah,
interjecting.
yeah,
There's a
yeah,
reason why
yeah.
it's going against your grain so much.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's about it, I think, Michelle. Anything else you want to add?
Well, I could talk forever about this kind of stuff.
Yes. Maybe we'll do a second episode, number two, resonance number two.
Yeah, and you know, if we get any comments and anybody wants to add or question or
Join the conversation.
join the conversation, yeah, then
Yeah.
we can explore it further and see where else it takes us. But this is quite an interesting topic, and
Yes.
I hope I did the hibiscus moon justice with explaining how she taught me.
I'm sure you did.
But uh, so that's it for now.
Yes. So no, we will wrap it up because we don't want you to stop watching us right now. We're not sure how long you would want to talk about it. No, we're kidding. But yeah. Okay.
All right, I'll let you close it up.
Me?
Yeah.
Are you seeing me? Hi, everyone. Okay, so like the video, leave us comments, leave us questions, and subscribe below. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.